Kia ora Hoama. I brought you here for this video to on the spot, spontaneously going to ask Ajeng some questions about her experience of New Zealand. Just a little bit of backstory. So we came to New Zealand from East Timor last December. We were here for a few months, 3 months I think. We went back to Indonesia for a couple of months, and then I came back a month in advance. Anyway, Ajeng's been here for the second time this year for 3 weeks. Both trips have seen us travel all around New Zealand, seeing lots of places, meeting many people, and experiencing different seasons as well. Right now it's mid-July, and it's cold, it's winter. When we got here in December, January, it was summer. We were traveling, going swimming and all that. So she's had this broad and varied experience of New Zealand people and places. And I thought before she flies back to Indonesia tomorrow, I'll get her to share some of her ideas. She has no idea what to say. This is completely unscripted. She's on the spot, so I'm just going to ask. Even I haven't prepared questions, so I'm just going to get into it. So why don't we just keep it super simple? And what could you say about, like, what's your give a general impression of your experience in New Zealand? Like, feel free to talk about the country itself, the places, the people. How has it been to come to New Zealand for the first time from your life in Southeast Asia? How's it been?
Okay, so as you said, that was my first time to visit New Zealand in December, and then for me it's quite surprise of I'm from Indonesia, the developing country, and I had experience in another country living in Timor, so absolutely it's very different than here. Here is more modern, more developed. That's why, I have got more understanding about why the country is called developed country. So,
what are those things? Yeah.
What for the obvious thing is infrastructure, the system infrastructure. Okay, the basic one is everywhere is tidy, everywhere is clean.
I'm not so sure that that's completely true, but
so far that
relatively.
I've seen, yes, and you want me to tell more?
So what about highlights? Like, okay, let me be more specific because the question's maybe too big, right? But like, what are your, let's say, what are the 5 things that really popped out from your experience that you say, these are things I'll really remember about New Zealand? And they can be good things or not good things, like the 5 significant things. And again, guys, this is unscripted, so, bear with us. But, yeah, what are some of the big things that you would say, wow, these things really popped out and they really made an impression on me?
First is about environment.
Okay.
People here, New Zealanders, they really care about environment, recycling, and making compost. That's what I'm doing now when I get back home. And they really care about that, and it's really good, especially about how to save water, electricity. And I see that, based on my experience, not many people in developing countries have awareness about that. Yes, we know that, we have to care about environment, the Greenpeace, global warming and everything, but to apply that, not in daily life, it's not really. But when I come here, I was quite shocked because almost everyone in the house are doing that. They really care about the details, about the washing, how to wash dishes, and even the washing machine. They use the specific. It's quite silly for me. Specific setting or the detergent that's eco-friendly.
We take these things for granted, but
the compost, and they really separate the rubbish. And back home, they put rubbish all one and just throw it away. Yeah, and that's the first thing.
Okay, environment.
Second one is the friendliness. In this country, that every time we have a morning walk and in the supermarket, people just greeting to each other, say hello, kia ora, good morning. Even greeting stranger, it's common here. Well, in Indonesia, this yes, in my country, doing that too between among the neighbors in the neighborhood.
If you know them or familiar with that
Yes,
person.
but to be honest, the greeting stranger at the park, like what we did, or yeah, what I saw, it's not really common, to be honest. Maybe just smiling. Yes, still being friendly, but just smiling, but not greeting. Give a greeting like, yeah, good morning, hello. It's just not common.
Okay.
What else?
How have you found you talked about the environment to do with pollution and conservation and stuff, but what about, how's been your impression of New Zealand geography as a place? Like, what's your, you've been through the South Island, West Coast, Otago, Ferry, North Island,
Yes.
Central North Island most recently. So what's your impression of New Zealand's nature and environment of, the mountains or whatever?
Oh yeah, it's great. The
You like
nature is the best. That's why no wonder New Zealand is the one of the top lists of on the bucket list of everyone in Indonesia.
Right.
Now I got opportunity to see it by myself, and it's really beautiful. And of course, as people know, that north and south is very different. Not very different. I mean, have a different
Landscape.
Yes.
Yep.
And every city, every area has their own characteristic, and that is a highlight for history, for the nature, for the people. So it's really interesting, this country. And yeah, I'm so happy to have opportunities to explore more from north until south.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so all of these things are very flattering and positive to New Zealanders. Like, we feel, I'm sure Kiwis will feel
because
proud
it is.
to hear that, and that's great. Like, we will take the compliment, I'm sure. But like, okay, so why don't we look at the other side? Like, what have been some of the things that you found challenging, or perhaps not maybe what you expected? Or I mean, it could be anything from prices to the roads or whatever. Like, what's some of the challenges or not so nice, flattering things?
As an Asian, for sure, is season.
Right.
It's just really at the beginning. It's so hard to adjust, especially in winter season. Yeah, it's just it's very different because we don't have winter, which is always hot and humid. That's the first thing. And as you said, the price, yes. In Asian countries, we are spoiled by how cheap the prices of fruit and vegetable, and many variety of vegetables. And here, everything's expensive. It's really shocking for me. Nothing is cheap
It's shocking
here.
for me, and I'm a New Zealander, and it's shocking for
Nothing
me.
is cheap.
Yeah.
And if I want to, another challenge is, if I would like to cook Asian food, it's quite hard to find the specific ingredients or spices.
Sure.
Sometimes our friends they brought from their
So
own
our
countries.
choices are limited.
Yes,
what we
maybe
can
because
buy.
of you guys don't have where is it? Many what is it? Foods with a lot of spices.
Yeah,
like
that's
in
true.
Indian, Pakistan, Asian.
We don't have a
and-
rich culinary
Yes,
culture like in Asia. So, oh yeah, that's fair enough.
But I like testing the new. I found many new vegetables and fruit here. That's the first time, like a plum, cherry here. So that was my first time to try that.
Yeah. Okay. And the people, like you mentioned, people are friendly, and I think by and large that's true. I mean, that people will debate that about how friendly we are compared to the old days to now.
Yes.
So there's debate about that and what direction are we going. But did you find any challenging examples of people that weren't so friendly, or people's behaviour? Not specific people or specific incidents, but is there any New Zealand behaviours that you found challenging, or maybe
Yes,
less positive?
yeah. I hope that every New Zealander, they understand, especially young people, they have knowledge about how this country is created. I'm talking about the history. Hopefully that they learn more about history of their own country, so they don't have any stereotype or judgment
Yeah.
to their own people. I mean, to the people that they're living in that country.
Right.
You know what I
Are
mean?
you referring to New Zealand culture and New Zealand people?
New Zealand people,
Like
the
the Maori
locals.
culture, New Zealand culture.
Yes, yeah.
The mixing of the different New Zealand people into one culture.
Yes,
Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
that's right. And
Right.
that's for the Kiwi, New Zealander young people, and also for foreigners. I suggest that we should not learning, but to be curious about what
New Zealand story.
what New Zealand story, and just visited the historical sites, for example, to get more understanding, to get more knowledge, and then what's going on in this country, and the history. So you're not listening, you don't get any idea or opinion only from one side.
Sure.
That's my suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had something on my mind. So, what about? New Zealand is very multicultural. It's increasingly multicultural, like even more multicultural than when I was growing up, and it's increasingly so. So I think, if I remember rightly, you got a little bit surprised by that. Maybe you didn't expect there to be so many people from Asia, for example. Like even when you came from Indonesia on the last flight, which was only a few weeks ago, you said from Bali to Sydney there was mostly Australians, or I don't know, European Australians, I guess you're talking about.
From
But
Sydney
then,
to Auckland.
So comment on your view of New Zealand people and people in New Zealand, like especially in the cities where there's a lot of people. What's your impression of New Zealand? Like you're surprised by certain things, like what?
Yeah, New Zealand government is really kind and to accept immigrants, and many immigrants they like to move here. That's what I saw, and just like you said, the flight from Sydney to Auckland. I'm just quite surprised that I only saw that two couples of Kiwi New Zealanders, and most of them they were Asians, and I can see that.
There's a lot of Asian people here.
Many Asian
Basically.
people. Yeah, that's obvious, especially in the big cities.
Did that surprise you? Like when you first came here, maybe not 3 weeks ago, but when you were first here to see.
Yes, especially when I was in Auckland.
Yeah.
That was a big city that I was coming, and wow, am I in New Zealand? Because many Asians everywhere, and well, I'm one of them.
That's right. That's true. They're probably thinking the same thing when they see you. They're like, "Hang on, is this more? There's more Asians here." But anyway, okay, so that's interesting. So again, the top takeaways from your experience of New Zealand. You've mentioned environment or Kiwis' attitude towards the environment.
Yes, the system, everything is many really good systems on the road.
Right.
What is it? Yeah, like in many playgrounds here. Wow, it's kids are being spoiled here.
Yeah, that's true.
And
actually.
not only that, every playground. What how do you call that? Picnic
Tables
tables everywhere, playgrounds, and drinking water. That's quite simple, but.
Can I just interrupt and
Yes.
say, as a Kiwi, because you're right, and I got to admit, I probably took those things for granted most of my life, until I spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, and then I realised we're actually spoilt here for space, parks, public facilities, public toilets,
Yes.
picnic tables.
Obviously,
The
yes.
things that we drive past every day and we don't even notice it, like Kiwis.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even notice that, like until we need it and want to use it. That is not what everyone gets access to around the world, for sure. So yeah, I agree with you, and even though I'm a Kiwi, I've noticed it more recently than the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
And footpaths too. It's really
Footpaths. You can walk on the. That's true. And in an Asian city, especially a Southeast Asian city, footpaths are like rare and sort of fancy flash areas. You know, like
Yes.
fancy areas. But for the vast majority of the time, it just goes street and then shops. And then there is all sorts of things going on in that space between. And,
Yes,
and
you have to be
footpaths is not
aware
one
of
them.
the other vehicles. It's quite dangerous to walk in Asia.
What about the traffic and the sort of the busyness and the way people drive and that? Did you make any observations about?
Do you guys have traffic? Oh yeah, compared to Asian, you guys don't have traffic.
Yeah. Well, I
Traffic
think
here is still moving.
Aucklanders might disagree with you, but
In Jakarta, traffic means really stuck. You cannot move at all. But here, still moving. So, do you have traffic?
Yeah.
And one more,
What?
public toilets.
Okay, tell us about the toilets.
That's my favorite.
Favorite topic.
Yes, everywhere we go, we can find public toilet, and in mostly in good, clean conditions. It's again.
I've seen
quite-
some shockers, by
Yeah.
the way, but yeah, I think generally you're right. Yeah, generally I think you are right. Depends which areas you go as to how many there are and the condition. But overall, I guess I would agree
Yes.
that we have good public toilets and lots of them generally. You always can't find one when you need one.
Yeah.
That's always the way it goes. But yeah, okay, public toilets. Because
But-
in Indonesia, we've got to pay for everything, right?
Oh
Toilets,
yes.
parking. I mean, very
And-
small fee. It's like 2,000 rupiah, it'd be about 20 cents. But nothing like that is free. Using the toilet, parking your car, or
And
motorbike.
only in the petrol station, and yeah, if you're lucky, you can find a clean one.
Yeah, you're lucky to find a clean one.
Well, sorry. Well, within my conclusion is how a country to be developed is not only the facility from government, but also the mindset of people too.
Mhm.
How you guys can maintain the facility that the government already give it to you, and started from your own property, like I said, environment and respect the public facility, and yeah, care to each, share to others, something like that.
People generally consider other people. Is
Yes,
that your
yeah,
point? I think you've said
not to
that
be
before.
selfish only for
Okay.
your benefit.
All right. And so, any words of advice for, could be another Indonesian person coming to New Zealand for the first time, or just any person coming to New Zealand for the first time. Is there any words of advice you might have, or something that you would maybe recommend to them, or tell them to avoid? Like, what's something that you, if your friend from Indonesia, for example, is coming, what are you going to tell them or warn them? Is there something?
First, be grateful. You have opportunity to travel here or even live here. Really be grateful and respect what you have, what you got. Appreciate that, and also again learn deeply about history. To be curious, not just take benefit from another country, but also understand and what is it? Yeah, just be curious. Be curious, being inquiring.
Inquire about New
Inquire
Zealand,
about
yeah.
it.
Not
Yeah.
not just see it like you say, like, because if I can chime in on that top point, a lot of people in Asia particularly, or maybe around the world, they know New Zealand as a developed country,
Yes.
part of the Western world basically,
Mm-hmm.
and and that provides opportunity if you get a chance to go and live here, like get a better job or education or higher salary, etc. Right, and those things are true mostly, but like you're suggesting, there's more to it than that. New Zealand's not just a Western developed country.
Oh,
There's
yeah, no.
there's culture here. There's indigenous
Yeah,
people.
rich of culture.
There's,
Yes.
it's multicultural, but also built on a bicultural foundation, like Māori, Pākehā. There's all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's the one.
And a lot of foreigners, they I think, to be fair, most foreigners eventually learn something of these things, or they might even learn a lot quite quickly. But there maybe are some too that might have, they just don't know anything about that, and then they come here for their own reasons, and then they don't find out about that stuff or
Yeah,
whatever.
right. Don't trust easily about one stereotype. When you heard someone or some people tell you, oh, don't do this, or don't be aware of this, be careful with that. Yeah, just listen, but don't swallow everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
Cool.
when you're living here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Tomorrow I'm going to live.
yeah.
Ka kita ano Aotearoa nga mininu iki ako eh.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, there you go. There's straight from the horse's mouth, spontaneous questions and answers about New Zealand. I'm sure there's
My
heaps
honest,
more.
my honest.
Honest and raw. There's probably a million other things we could elaborate on, but we won't. We'll keep it to what it is. And who knows, there might be another video later with a different update, but that's a pretty good summary, I think, of the people and the place.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the goods and the bads and all of that. Okay, cheer everybody.